Welcome back, scholars. We are now going to dive into our independent practice and prepare for our exit ticket. So, scholars, our annotation and discussion prompt is the same. What is the central ideal of the article? Support your answer with at least two details from the text. So, scholars, again, this is a T chart that you should have in front of you showing 7 key ideas from the article. So, scholars, we are going to pick a few of these key ideals and dive deeper into those ideas so that we better understand the central idea of the article. And, guys, that helps us write a very, very great ACE response on our exit ticket. So, scholars, the 4 key ideas that we're going to focus on in today's lesson are: one, from paragraph 1, ancient Egypt was much more ahead of time and valued women more than other ancient cultures like Greece. So that is one of the key ideas that stuck out most. And after reviewing your independent practice from yesterday, a lot of you guys were able to pick up on the idea that women were not treated as equal or as fairly as men in some of the cultures in ancient Egypt. Another key idea that you guys were able to pick up on was that women in Greece were considered less important and capable and were given fewer rights than men. Many of you spoke on the fewer rights that women were given or how unfairly they were treated. In paragraphs 3 and 4, we start seeing a change. And a lot of you guys talked about the change. Some of us kind of mixed up the words, but in Sparta, in Sparta, women were given more rights. And because they were given more rights, the Greek men criticized Sparta for doing so. So, guys, I want to be clear. It was Sparta that gave women more rights, and it was Sparta that was criticized by the Greek men for giving women those rights. And then the last key idea that we're going to discuss came from paragraphs 10 and 11. Now, a lot of you talked about, the women had rights, but they weren't able to do certain things. Let's be very specific when we say the things that they were not able to do. For example, they were not able to have leadership roles. So, scholars, if you're going to use the key idea from paragraphs 10 and 11, be sure to tell us what those roles were. Be sure to explain how they were kept from doing those roles. Got it? Let's keep moving. So now, scholars, it is time for us to craft our claim. Remember, let's go back. Let's look at our annotation and discussion prompt. What is the central idea of this article? Support your answer with at least two details from the text. So, scholars, when we're writing our claim, what is it that we're answering? Yes, the central idea. So as you write your claim, you are simply responding to the prompt, what is the central idea? So in your claim, you're telling the readers, what is the central idea of the article? Scholars, I am going to give you 1 minute. I'll give you 1 minute, 30 seconds. Go ahead and write your claim. Again, your claim must answer the prompt. What is the central idea of the article? Your time has started. Scholars, we are only focused on the central idea right now. You're not giving the evidence just yet. You're just simply writing what the central idea of the article was or is. We have 30 seconds. All right, scholars, so you should have written your central idea. I'm going to share with you my central idea. Women in ancient Egypt were given a lot more power and control than women in other ancient societies. So that is my claim. So when I am thinking of evidence, I need to go in, look at my T chart, and look at those key ideas. What key ideas could I use to support my claim that women in ancient Egypt were given a lot more power and control than women in other ancient societies? Scholars, you will have the next 1 minute and 30 seconds to identify your evidence. How does this look? On your sheet of paper, you should have your T chart. You can simply circle, put an asterisk or star, however you like to identify which which two key ideas best supports the claim that you have written. Again, you're going to go in, identify which two key ideas best supports your claim. After you have identified that, just simply write on your paper, on your notes, you could say paragraph 1, paragraphs 3 and 4. That way, when you're writing your ACE response in your exit ticket, you know exactly which key idea you're going to use and where you got the key idea from. Scholars, again, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. All right, scholars, so you should have identified your two pieces of evidence, which are two key ideas that was on your T chart from yesterday. So, scholars, I am going to share my two evidence or two key ideas. One, I wrote, the author explains that people from other societies expressed shock at the way in which women were empowered. And our second evidence, the author quotes Janet Johnson, a professor. From our earliest preserved records, the formal legal status of Egyptian women was nearly identical to that of Egyptian men. So, scholars, I have two pieces of evidence that best supports my claim that women in ancient Egypt were given a lot more power and control than women in other societies. We now need to form our analysis. Now, when you're writing your analysis, remember you're thinking hired word. You're making an inference. You're giving a by or a because statement. Scholars, I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds. You are creating your analysis. You're giving an analysis of the central idea of the article. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Your time is started. All right, scholars, so you have now your analysis. So, scholars, for my analysis, I wrote, even though most women were kept from leadership roles, people can still see a lot of early feminism by studying ancient Egyptian society. So, scholars, in front of you, you should have your claim written out. You should have identified two pieces of evidence, which are two key ideas from the article, and you should have written your analysis. We're moving. So, again, scholars, this is what you should have in front of you. Remember, when you're responding to the prompt, what is the central idea of this article? Support your answer with at least two details from the text. You should write a claim, you've already written. Context, you need to write. Evidence, you already have. Those are your key ideas. And an analysis, you've already written your analysis. So, scholars, you should be set up for success in writing your ACE response. All right, it's Friday. It is go time. You guys got this. You are responding. What is the central idea of the article supported with two details? You have your details. You have your claim written out. You have your analysis. Go in, give it some context, spruce it up, sprinkle some perfection on it, and submit your exit ticket. Now, remember, scholars, you also need to complete 150 minutes by the end of this week in Lexia. Cannot wait to read your responses. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great and safe weekend.